बाथरूम तो पानी भी तो देना पड़ेगा पौधों पौधे के सारे पानी सर्दी हो रही है चाहे हल्का हल्का देती है मैं सिर्फ सारा साफ करना बड़ी झाड़ू ले लो
A very good morning to all of you. On behalf of BCIIT, I welcome you all for today's workshop on Java Microservices with Spring Boot. Banarsi Das Chandiwala Institute of Information Technology is affiliated with Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, Delhi. The institute runs 2-year MCA degree. The institute is approved by All India Council of Technical Education AICTE, Ministry of HRD, Government of India. We at BCIIT are in a constant practice of regularly conducting such technical and informative workshops for our students. In such a view, we today are organizing a technical workshop on Java microservices with Spring Boot. For the same, we have today with us our trainer, Mr. Jatin Sehgal from RBS. Mr. Jatin Sehgal has around 10 years of experience in developing web applications in Java and other related technologies. He has completed his MCA from BCIIT only and then started his career with Nagaro and currently is working with RBS with almost 5 years now. Now it's time for me to hand over the session to Mr. Jatin Sehgal. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Nidhi ma'am. A warm welcome to all the participants. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jatin. So, as ma'am has described, today's session is about creating microservices using Java and Spring Boot framework. So, first, I will start with a brief introduction, and then I will go on and with the coding part, and then we'll we'll do the workshop as an hands-on exercise. All right. So please keep asking questions if you have. It will be nice if we can make the session interactive. That will be really nice. Okay. So I'll start with a brief experience of mine, after college, how I've joined in my first organization and what part my college has played, which is obviously BCIIT in this case. So what part BCIIT has played in helping me um to achieve whatever I am today. So yeah. I graduated from BCIIT in the year 2011, and at that point in time, MCA used to be a 3-year course. So I was enrolled in a 3-year MCA course, but now I noticed that it is a 2-year course. And so from the beginning, I was very keen on Java. Those days, only two popular languages were there. One was Java, and another one was ASP.NET. So I was very keen on Java, and yeah, I used to study with Sushma ma'am, whom I can see in the call right now. So hi ma'am. Uh, and a lot of other various teachers as well at that point in time in 2011, and so I was in 2008 to 2011 batch. So so basically, the I intend to share some of my experience with you so that I think it might help you in preparing for your placements. So that is the only intention. I'll just give you a brief talk about it. So basically, what I have come across in my experience is that you should really focus on DS and algo part as much as you can. So in our time, we were not aware of this part much. Although I used to focus more on the language part, which was Java in my case. But you should spend your two years time in the college of your degree preparing for DS and Algos. So there are a lot of various competitive websites, competitive programming websites these days. You can explore them and use them, form groups in your classes, and then try to resolve them. So basically, these websites have, let's say, any one website has 1200 or 1200 to 1400 DS and algo questions. Try to resolve at least 800 out of those in these 2 years among your friends, and also that will really help you in your career going forward. So that will give you a real boost if you want to crack product-based organization like Amazon or Microsoft or Expedia, any e-commerce application-based company. If you want to crack their interview, you really need to focus more on this part, DS and Algo. And you can attempt those questions in any language, but I will suggest you prefer C++ or Java for preparing this stuff. Because rest of the languages have become too abstract, so you'll not get to know how it is behaving. So that's why I will prefer that you use C++ or Java. Yeah, all right. And yeah, talking about my college days, um, so here, one thing which I have never forgotten here in the BCIIT is that the faculty and the atmosphere is really friendly here. So there is no there is no communication gap, or you can say there is no formality between the teachers and the students here. So I have seen in my 3 years we really gel together as a single unit, be it the faculties or the seniors or us. So so that's a really good part. The learning becomes really fun in that sense. Yeah, so all the best to all of you. If you have any question, any doubt, query up till now, whatever I have said, please share it. I'm happy to answer. Okay. Okay, I guess no. So I'll start with the presentation of today's topic, and yeah, then we'll gradually move on to the coding. Thank you. I hope you can see my screen now. Please, can someone let me know if you can see my screen?
Sir, it's currently it's blank. If you can
Okay.
just share it
It's
again.
blank. It's your mouse is moving. We can see that, but the content is not visible.
Please
Okay,
share it
let me
again.
share it. Okay, okay.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yes, it's visible now.
Sir,
All
it's
right,
visible.
great.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so today's session is about Spring Boot microservices, and I'll quickly move the slides and give you an introduction. So the agenda, in the agenda, I'll try to cover the basics of microservices, the advantages, and then we'll move on to creating the Spring Boot microservices and how it communicates with other services. So microservices is an approach to developing a single application as a suite of small services, each running in its own process and communicating with lightweight mechanisms, often an HTTP resource API. So basically, what has been happening before microservices came into the picture was we used to have a single application. So each project used to have a single application. It's a like huge bunch of code uh, contained what we call a single application contained to a single database um, and and that application used to have all the functionality that that application should have. The objective, all the objective will be fulfilled by that single application, that single piece of code. Okay, but uh, as the time progressed on, we started to face various disadvantages due to that. So let's say I have deployed my application in the production environment, and someday the database goes down. Let's say, so my whole application crashes now, and I cannot use even a single feature of my application. Let's say I have an e-commerce application uh, where if the database goes down, I cannot even log in into the system. Now, we gradually moved on to the microservices part then. So I was talking about a use case where something goes down in an application, so the whole application comes down. And it's a great business loss to the company who's having this application on prod. So they are losing business, millions per second or per minute. You can say big application like Amazon. We cannot think of Amazon as a single monolithic application. But now, as we moved on to microservices, what we are having now is we have split across our monolithic architecture, which is this one, a single application UI with a single backend logic contained in a single project and contained with a single database. Okay. So let's say something goes down here inside my business logic, inside this code. So my whole application will go down, or even if some part of it is running, let's say, then also I need to fix some feature which has gone down, but I'll have to run the whole test cycle on complete application again and again whenever I need to go to the production. So uh, so there will be a problem. Actually, the time to production will be huge in the case of a single monolithic application. But now, when we compare it with the microservice-based architecture, we have all the features divided into different microservices. So application UI is contacting different microservices for different features. So each microservice is a project of on its own. It's an independent project on its own, and each is having its own set of database, a separate database. Don't think of these three databases mentioned here as a copy of each other. So let's say in an e-commerce application, first microservice could be of inventory, second could be of order, and third could be of user profile. So inventory will have inventory database, the order will have the order database, and the user profile will have customer database, the customer data. All right. So all these three don't need to be copy of each other or being since uh, since the schema itself is different across these databases. So we don't need to even replicate the data. So there is no need of that. But what advantages are we getting out of it? So the advantage here is, let's say there is some bug in my this third microservice, which is a this user profile microservice. So for some time, the users might not be able to edit their profile. They might not be able to edit their profile or view their profile, because all this is done through this microservice. But they will still be able to log in, because I have a different login security microservice or authentication microservice here, and they will still be able to make orders, search through the inventory microservice, then make orders through the order microservice, and they will run through their transactions. Just one thing that they won't be able to do, which is editing or viewing their user profile. So this is one advantage. The application will still run, so there is no single point of failure. Uh, this kind of application has a multiple point of failures. So multiple failures have to occur in order to in order to fail the whole application. All right. And now suppose we got an error in this user profile microservice. Now our objective as a development team is to just fix this microservice and only test the all the test suite and the regression cycle only on this microservice, and then deploy only this microservice. Rest all things, all microservice will run as it is. There will be no deployment in any other microservice, because there is no error in those microservices. We just need to fix this one and deploy this one. But had it happened here, then since all the code is tightly coupled into a single project, a single code base, then I'll have to run the whole test suite, the regression cycle, and then I can deploy it. I hope you are with me up till now. I was trying to explain the advantages of microservice architecture over monolithic architecture. So I'll just go around, move around what is there on the slide. So monolithic applications are typically huge with thousands or even millions of lines of code. So monoliths are characterized by the following characteristics, which are a large application size, as I have explained, long release cycles, because the testing cycle and the regression cycle is huge in this case. And also, since it's a single code base, we have large teams here. So we have a large teams, and we have a single point of failure. So if there is one failure, the whole application goes down. But if we compare it with microservice architecture, it involves a number of small, well-designed components interacting with messages via HTTP verbs. So when I say HTTP verbs, so everything is abstracted, and they are exposed via HTTP APIs, like a get, post, put, delete APIs. So simple APIs, and behind the scenes, the API or the microservice could have been developed in different programming language altogether. So if there are 3 microservices here in this application, I could have one microservice running in Python, because let's say it is doing some data analytics work, and Python is better suited for that kind of work, data analytics or data science kind of things. So I can have this Python microservice here, but rest 2 microservices are still based on Java. And we don't care about how they are implemented. We just care about what they are exposing, the kind of APIs they are exposing, and we just connect all the services through the APIs that have been exposed in each microservice. So we have small services collaborating to form an application, as you have seen here. So time to production is very less because we have small chunks of code to be tested and developed. So that's why the time to production means time to go live. So when we start a project, we are in a development phase when we are just developing the project. But when we deploy it to production, that means now our project is live, and our customers can go to our website, go to our web application and access it. So that means now the business is coming. The business has started actually. So the time to production is very less. So in monolithic, there were large teams, but here there is a concept which is 2 pizza team. So in microservice, we could have we could have a single team for each of the microservices, a separate team for each of the microservices. And the concept is that microservice team should not be greater, should not be more, uh, that that they cannot consume. They need more than 2 pizzas actually to have a meal. So that should not be the case. So in this sense, a normal typical size of a microservice team, development team, including the QAs and the developers, should not be more than 8. So that's a concept that we are trying to follow across the companies. And as I explained, there is no single point of failure in this microservice kind of architecture, because one microservice fails, rest of the application still is working fine in production. Fine, I'm moving on. So now we'll try to create Spring Boot microservices. So what are we gaining out of Spring Boot? So Spring Boot enables building production-ready applications quickly and provides non-functional features. So when I say non-functional features, that means it provides various monitoring metrics, health check metrics, and things like embedded servers. So what is happening here is uh, when you create a typical application, not on Spring Boot, then what you have to do is you have to initiate a Tomcat service or Tomcat server or a container, and then you build a jar out of your project, and then copy your jar into the web app folder of your Tomcat, and then you start the Tomcat, and then your application is deployed. But here, since the Tomcat itself or the container itself is embedded with the Spring Boot, so you don't need to explicitly copy your jar file into the web app folder and do this stuff. So that is not required anymore. You just do your coding, start your application from Spring Boot. It will be deployed, and you can access it from your local through localhost, or if you deploy it somewhere, so you can use the domain name and you can start accessing your application from any other environment wherever you deploy. So health checks, there is a concept health check. Basically, in Spring Boot, health checks are provided automatically by Spring Boot itself. Health check is nothing but uh, a service which is already provided by Spring Boot. It keeps on checking the health of my service, my APIs, whether my service is up or not. So in any environment, this health check will be on, and it will keep on poking the service time to time to check whether it is able to reach the service or not, whether service is replying a response or not. So if it is replying with a success response, that means service is still up on the server wherever we have deployed it. So externalized configuration. So this might be a little out of context for you guys now, but I'll try to explain. So we use properties file in a project. So now with Spring Boot, what is happening is um, we don't need to embed the properties file in our code base now. We can externalize our configuration to another server, and we can keep all our properties there in the external server itself. There is no need to keep the properties inside our code base. So what is the benefit we are getting out of it is, suppose we are having properties in our code base. Then if there is some change in the configuration, no change in the code, but just a single change in the properties file, then also I have to redeploy my application. But in the case of externalized configuration, I will change it there, and the new properties will be picked automatically with the previous deployment only, with my current deployment only. So I am saving my extra deployments here through externalized configurations. But this is something which you will come across when you will start working in an organization, because in this examples, or we may not able to do this stuff. All right. So this is a simple example of a microservice. So as I was trying to explain, there is a call coming from a browser to a UI microservice. So even the UI and the backend code is decoupled now. So there will be a UI developer, or if you are a full stack developer, then you might be working in both UI microservice and the backend microservice as well. But the code will be will reside in different microservices. So there will be a different microservice for the UI part, and it could be in Angular, it could be in React.js, or whatever that your company is following for the UI part. And then we have different microservices based on your application's business logic. So basically, we try to split microservices based on subdomains within your application. So there could be a functionality of search. So we can have search microservice. There is a functionality of payments. So we can have payments microservice, and likewise customer review microservice. So like that. All right, let's move ahead. Yeah. So for the purpose of this session, I'll be mostly using these three things only. And if you don't have it, you can download it from these links that I have provided. Maybe I can share these links in the description of this session later on. And yeah, but we need any ID, preferably Eclipse, because it is freely available. Then for the purpose of this session, will be on Java 8, and we will be using Maven, which in most cases should be integrated with your Eclipse ID itself. But if it is not, then you can download it from the Maven website. All right. Let's start coding. But before that, if you have any questions, please come forward and ask those. Any doubt, any query, whatever I have discussed so far regarding preparation, placements, regarding Spring Boot microservices. Yeah, please come forward.
Yes, Yatin, one query from one of the participants. Which service is mostly used in companies, monolithic or microservices?
Okay. So yeah, actually I would say both, because the code which was written already, that is still in use. So that was written as a monolithic application. So that's why those applications are still going on. And whatever code companies are writing these days, whatever new applications that we are writing these days, those are in microservice architecture only. And because microservices architecture is more conducive for the cloud deployments as well, and since the companies have to move towards the cloud deployments, that's why it makes more sense to move into microservice architecture as well. So any new development which is happening for the past some years, let's say past at least 3-4 years, it is widely used across the industry, this architecture. But older projects before, let's say, 2015, those are in monolithic architecture. Yeah, I hope I have answered your question.
One thing more,
Any
sir.
other?
One question.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes, please.
One query. Can we make Java service? Can we make microservices only in Java, or there are other languages also which are used for the purpose?
Yeah, as I explained in one of the examples, there could be a single application which could be having microservices in different languages as well. So one application could have three microservices, and out of these three, one microservices could be in Python, and other two could be in Java. So that is very much possible, and that is very much happening. Actually, some language is preferred for some kind of function, and some other language is preferred for some other kind of function. So, if I talk about Python, Python is mostly used for computative skills or analytics part. So that's why if our microservice or our functionality is dealing with um, any objective of having data analytics or data something related to data manipulation, like finding statistics out of that data, mean, median, modes, kind of stuff that we used to do in statistics. So that is more preferred in Python because Python is providing APIs, faster APIs to perform these functions. But rest of the enterprise based things, like my business logic or my crude operations, those are more preferred in Java, because Java is more structured. Python is not very structured. You can write a microservice in a single page, that's it. You don't need to follow a structure. But in Java, um, you have to follow a structure of services, of controller, of repositories. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So
So, yes. We
okay.
have one more query, sir, from Reena Garg. She's asking that why do we need microservices? What is the basic purpose of creating it? Why do we need it?
Okay. So up till now, yeah, I was trying to explain this part, that you can only realize the benefit of microservice when you start realizing the disadvantages of a monolithic architecture. Then only you can appreciate the advantages of a microservices. So in a monolithic, as I said, it's a single huge code base, and after some point of time, let's say the application is in development for 5 years, and in 5 years we might have written at least 1 lakh lines of code in a single application, and it is still in under development. So it becomes a nightmare to scale, to make it scalable or even readable or maintainable for the new developers which are joining in the team after, let's say, 5 years of time. So it will become a nightmare for a new joiner. He will take at least 4 to 6 months just to understand the code base, how it is functioning, how it is behaving. So people spend this much time in large applications just to understand the flows, uh, what is the schema look like, and how it is behaving with the code, how it is integrated with the code. So that is one part from the developer's point of view. Second part is, in monolithic, that if something goes wrong, you have to you although you will fix it, but the whole uh, test cycle test cycle means all the test cases that you have written over the application, you have to run all those again. And you don't know with your fix what else might break down, what else in the application might break down, because the application is not decoupled from each other. The code is not decoupled, they are tightly coupled in a monolithic architecture. Now, whereas if I compare it with the microservice architecture, since the code is not since the code is not coupled with each other, it is decoupled by the means of this HTTP APIs, uh, which means that I can fix my one microservice. I can only test that particular microservice. I don't need to test all other microservices which were there in the application. So my time to production reduces considerably in this case. So let's say in a monolithic architecture, generally the QA team takes, let's say, 20 to 30 days to test the whole application one more time. So they give this much time. They take this much time to test this. So that means even if you fix a small change, then also it will take 1 month to go to production. But in the case of microservice, since we are fixing just one microservice, we can go to production in about 5 days time only, or even tomorrow, let's say. Yeah, since everything is automated, these all test cycles and test suites are automated, so we can go live very quickly. So it is reducing costs for the company hugely, and also it has become very maintainable for the developers as well. Yeah, I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. That was a great answer. Okay. Before you start coding, sir, let us share some information with our audience. We are sharing our screen with our audience for a minute. That was really indeed a very nice brief introduction of microservices. Uh, all my audience, we feel immense pleasure to announce that in even in the time of this pandemic, our students have been able to grab nice placements with handsome LPA in very reputed companies. We have a list of our students that we are sharing with you on our screen. These are our students. They have been able to grab very nice placements even in the pandemic, because our college is always in the process of training and giving placement assistance to our students, and we always keep on conducting such workshops and seminars for our students, and these practices actually help in developing our students in shaping their career. So you can see Nitin Kumar Mishra, Mohit Saxena, Shivani Sarthi, Sakshi Mittal, Kiranjit Kaur, Sonam Kapri, Aisha, Shubham Saxena, Anam Sharma, Piyush Arora, Himani Sharma. This is just the beginning. These are all the final year students who have been able to grab placements. And this is, I remind, this is just the beginning. This is the batch of 2018-2021, and our students have been able to achieve these placements in these times. It is the constant efforts of our placement cell, of our faculty team, and jointly efforts by our students who are in constant practice of in development in the field of IT. I think now we can continue with our session. Jatin sir, I hand over the session again to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. Yeah. All right. So I'll share my screen again, I guess. Just a minute, I'm sharing my screen again.
Sure, sir, sure. All of you, please be there. We are just starting the coding session. It's the time for action after all that stuff? We are just starting the session in a second, the coding session. Yes, now it's visible, sir. Your screen is visible.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So for the purpose of this session, I will be creating two microservices from scratch. So the first microservice I'll create, and then I'll connect it with the database. For the purpose of this session, it will be a H2 database, and we'll implement the get, post, and put HTTP APIs in that service, which will interact with the database, which will be integrated with this service. And once it is done, then we will create another microservice from scratch, which will be consuming the APIs which were exposed in the first microservice. So all in all, we'll try to cover how to create these get post put calls and how to consume these get post put calls, including the database, which will be with the associated with the first microservice only. All right. So to create the skeleton, I'm using a simple way. You need to go to the start.spring.io. This is the Spring website only. You can go there, and it will create a nice skeleton project for you. So this is really helpful. So for the purpose of this session, we'll be creating Maven project. It will be based on Java. So other languages which it is currently supporting is Groovy, Kotlin, and Java. So we'll be using Java. So Spring Boot version, I will be on 2.2.11, a little older version, but it is not that old. It is about really near to latest version only. But I'm not going to the latest version for a purpose, and that is if we use latest versions of anything, so there are chances that the other dependencies or the other tools that we are going to integrate it might not work that well with these. So the integrations sometimes take some time. So I'm using a little older one here. Okay. What should we name it? So since BCIIT is conducting this session, so let me name it com.bciit, and it can be Spring Boot Service 1. Demo project for Spring Boot. Package name will come like this. Spring Boot. No, not like this. Oh, let me say service. Yeah, it will be packaged as a jar, and I'll be using Java 8 only. We're not going ahead on 11 or 15 as it's a simple example. So 8 is enough for this one. And we can add dependencies as well, which are the various jars, but we will add them manually once we create the project. So I just need to click generate here. So yeah, I have clicked generate, and it has created one project for me. I can keep it anywhere, and let me keep it here. Okay. Yeah, fine. So now, actually, if I'm sharing my whole screen, it is coming out as a black screen with just mouse visible. So I'm sharing application by application. So right now I've shared my browser only. So I need to switch to the other thing to show you the rest of the things. All right. There is some issue with this one. Yeah. So I had downloaded this project when I created when I pressed the generate button. Then I downloaded it here. So now I can extract here simply. So this is a skeleton project, empty project, but with all the structure in it, created by the Spring website itself, start.spring.io. Okay, so this is the structure. Now I will go to the open my Eclipse, and I'll import this project into my Eclipse, and then we'll start. All right. Yeah, I hope you can see my screen now. Eclipse is visible.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Yeah, so once it is open, yeah, what I have to do is I need to click on file at the top here. Then I need to click import here. Then I need to go inside Maven. So there will be a lot of options like Git, like Java, Maven. So since it was a Maven project, so I will go inside Maven and click the existing Maven projects, go there, and then click the browse button and reach to the location. Uh, Ma'am, sorry, can you please go on mute, ma'am? Sushma, ma'am. Okay, so I'll import it from here. Uh, so I kept it in M. Yeah, Sushma, ma'am, can you please go on mute? Sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So I faced one error when I imported it. There was some error which was visible on the screen just a few seconds ago. So what I did was I right click the project, go to Maven, update project. Click this option, update project. Use force update of snapshot and releases. Click this checkbox and press OK. So what it will do is it will sync all the dependencies and resolve all the issues if there is any issue with the dependencies that is those are being used inside pom.xml file. So pom.xml is nothing but a configuration file, you can say, or a settings file, you can say, for the Maven, from where all the jars which are required in our project are mentioned in this form.xml file. So Maven is a tool which is used for not only building the project but also managing the project as well, managing the all sort of things like unit test cases, managing the builds, managing the code coverage, so things like that, all sort of things like that. So it is kind of managing the project, not only creating the jar files. All right. Yeah. So 2.2.2.11 release is being used here, and the jar which will be created out of this project will be based on this name. All right. And these are the dependencies which are automatically included in this. Fine. Now, for our purpose, we will add some more dependencies into it. So I have added just this one dependency so far, Spring Boot Starter Web. It will be required for creating these HTTP APIs. So like get post put that our intention is to create. So it will help. It will provide us all the required jars inside this one dependency only to create all the APIs. All right. Now the next one I'm going to add is for integrating the H2 database. So I'll now add the database related dependencies. So this one is yeah, fine. So H2 has been added. Now one more thing, how Java will interact with H2. So that will be based on the JPA mechanism. So we need to add a dependency for JPA. So let me add one for JPA. Actually, I'm waiting still because yeah, now it has done. Now it is still progressing. Yeah, it is done now. So now I have opened this tab, dependency hierarchy. Just wanted to show you once how it is happening, what is happening behind the scenes. So all in all, what I have included is Spring Boot Starter was there from automatically from the beginning. What I added was Spring Boot Starter Web H2 and Spring Boot Starter Data JPA. These three only I have added. But inside these three, you can see various other dependencies or jar, you can say, which come as a bouquet inside this dependency, dependency. So the Spring Boot is smart enough and to realize that if we want the web-based application and I'm using the web-based dependency, so it will provide this whole bouquet inside that web dependency. Likewise, in the JPA dependency, it is providing all the database related things to me, like Spring JDBC, Hibernate, Spring Data JPA, everything it will be providing to me. Spring Data, sorry, yeah, this one. Starter JDBC, yeah, Hibernate Core, Spring Boot Starter JDBC, like this. All right. And if you ever need to add dependency, first look for its starter version. So I could have included these dependencies which are they are included inside the JPA starter. Inside the JPA starter, I could have included these individually as well. But that would have created a lot of other problems as well, because here you can see the version numbers of each. Like for Hikari CP, it is 3.4.5, but for something else like Hibernate Core, it is 5.4.22.final. So this is the version number of each of these jars. But Spring Boot knows um which version numbers are compatible with each other of all these jars. So let's say Hibernate Core 5 is compatible with Spring JDBC 5.2.10. So it resolves all these compatibility issues itself if you are using starter. But if I were using these dependencies individually, if I were including these dependencies individually, then I will have to make sure whether whether I'm using the compatible versions in this file, in this form.xml file. So that is very important. Otherwise, we will start getting errors which we might not able to resolve due to these dependency issues, this compatibility issues. All right. So between people or between jars, compatibility is really important. Moving ahead, since we have created our pom.xml file, now see it has automatically created this package as well, com.bciit.service1. Okay, let's and this is the main class from where the boot application starts, from where the context comes up. So this is the main class. All right. We don't need to touch anything in this class. We can create other classes. First, I will okay. First, let me create an entity first. All right, and inside the domain package source. All right. So entity is nothing, but it will be treated as um, as a medium to interact with the database table, one table. So every table in the database will correspond to a entity class inside our Java code base. Yeah, you just need to place @entity so that it will be, this class will be recognized as a table, which will be as a domain inside our Java code base, which will be used in the ORM mapping, object relational mapping. So let's provide it an ID, which will be used as a primary key. So strategy. Yeah, okay. So whenever you are creating a class, please make sure you are creating all the instance fields as a private here. As you can see here, I have declared it as a private so that they are not accessible directly from outside. So these are basic things like OOPS concepts that you can go through when you are reading about Java, or I assume that you already know about Java. So I'm using some shortcut here. So I'm trying to generate only the getter setters for this. So basically that's all. So there are various other ways as well to create getter setter. One thing is that we can write here, but I'm not going to use that as of now. But yes. So we have created a entity class. Page name. Okay, name. Let's also give it a name. So now I will try to increase my speed as we are left behind. Only 50 minutes are left for this session. But anytime if you have any question, please stop me in between. You can ask those questions straight away. All right. I'll keep on talking whatever I'm doing, and I hope you'll stay with me for this session. All right. Let me. I've created. So I've created a domain. You can say entity class. Now I will create a JPA repository to interact with to make a connection between database and to pass on this domain to that database. All right. For that, I just need to create one repository. tree. That's all. Let's call it repository. Let's call it repository. Okay. Then it will do this. JPA repository. And here it will be source. Yeah, I'll keep it blank and I'll tell you why. And it's an interface, not a class. All right. Let's move on to the controller. Let's create a controller as well. One thing we missed here is this. No, this template is not required. There is a question by Shraddha. Can you please mention Eclipse ID application in certificate? Sorry, I am not able to get your question. By certificate, what do you mean by certificate? I'll come back to your question later. You can meanwhile explain what is it.
Yes, we'll be taking up the question answers later on. We can continue with the session right now.
Yeah, I'll take those questions
At the end,
all
we'll be
at
taking
one.
up the
Yeah, all at one go. Yeah, thank you. All right. So let's quickly create this thing. Get resource, let's say one. So, okay. Okay, for this get mapping that I'm trying to create here, the intention is to find any object by this ID, which will be provided in the query string. We make a get call by using a question mark, and after that we pass on the parameter. Like in this case, it will be get resource one question mark ID equal to, it will be 253 whatever, and if a record exists with that particular ID, let's say ID number 2, then that record details whole object will be sent back as a response to the client. That is the intention for this method. So whenever you might be noticing, whenever I get a compile time error, let's say I remove this import statement from here, any import statement. So I'm getting a compile time error since this class is unable to locate the source. So there is a shortcut in Eclipse which is Control Shift O. You just need to press Control, after that Shift, then O. Then it will give you the suggestion wherever it can find resource. So you can use the resource that you want to import. So in my case, it is domain.resource. This one I created. I want to use this one. So let me add this. So every time I'm doing this Control Shift O, Control Shift O in order to resolve all the compile time issues due to import statements. Right. Created website. So HTTP status.ok is nothing but 200. 200, any range of 200 is always a success response code. So there are various code categories. So all the 200 code categories are the success responses, 200, 201, 2, 3, and all the 400 are error responses. It could be 404 not found. If your URL or if your server is down, then also 404. If you are giving a wrong URL, then also 404, because it is unable to find that particular URL for you. And if the error code is in the range of 500s, then it means it was able to reach your API, but there was some exception caused inside your API. That's why you will get response code in the range of 500s. All right. So we have completed one basic okay. So we will be using this thing. Yeah. So one API we have completed, and you can see here resource repository is a this resource repository is an interface, and still I'm calling it find by ID. And although I have not implemented this find by ID myself, I have not written any implementation for this find my ID, but the JPA itself is providing it to me by default. I have not implemented it myself. That's the point. I'm just using one interface. That's all. This one. That's all. Nothing else. And it has to make a connection with resource. My resource is my domain name. Long is the type of the ID that was used inside the resource. If I go back to the resource, the ID is of type long. So that's why in resource repository I've mentioned long here, and resource is the domain with which I want to connect this repository to, with which I want to connect my repository. So let's say if I would have a second domain, then I will have to create one more repository same way, a blank repository. That's all. And for the purpose of this, let's also try to create one more resource find by mm, that's it. So this was find by ID, which was provided to me by default. If I want to use it as find by name, I just need to give this much find by name, and I think it should get implemented automatically as well. But we will try that later. Let's move on to the post, and then we need to test it as well. Create or insert source. So we use post mapping when we want to insert or send some data from client to the backend server. So in this case, it will be a post mapping, and post will get an object from the client, and we will create one more row inside our table with that object. That is the intention of this post mapping. So here I go, create resource. This one will be request. Yeah, fine. See, in the case of get, I was sending 200 okay, but in the case of post, I'm sending 201 created because I'm creating something. But it is not mandatory. Any category of 200 is sufficient for the UI developer or the client to know it was a success. And in the success, I am sending the whole object after saving it. So this save and flush also I have not created, implemented myself. This has been provided to me by the JPA automatically, so I'm using it. All right. Yeah, that should be it. Now let's try our hand at foot mapping as well, and then we will test all three together and try to resolve if there is any issue. Okay. What will I do is so here in this case, in the update resource, which I'm implementing through a put mapping, in this case, there could be multiple scenarios. So the client wants to update only the address of my resource, nothing else, or he wants to update only two fields, address and age, let's say. So he wants to update only age and address. So selectively, he can update data. So no need to send all the other data as well. He can send it, but no, there is no need to send all the other data. I can place checks here. So whatever is not null. So if resource dot get address is not null, then only I will update it. But before that, I need to find it as well. Okay. What will I do is also please try to follow camel case notation here. So I'm using a camel case everywhere in my method names, in my variable names. So the first word, the first alphabet of the first word should be small, and after that every word should start with a capital alphabet. Update resource, R is capital, but U is small. Here E is small, but R is capital, like this. In the case of variable names and in the case of method names only. But in the case of class names, both start with capital alphabet. Resource starts with R, capital R, and then controller capital C, like this. Resource capital R, repository capital R, like this. So this is the notation you must follow every time when you are coding in Java. All right. And yeah, if you want to study about Java, you can OOPS concept. You can refer to Kathy Serra as well. There might be an edition on Java 8 as well. So you can go through that. The first 2 3 chapters or five. Chapter 2 to 5 are very important in that. That will cover all the basics of Java for you. All right. Like I am discussing this why where we should use private, where we should use public, what is the notation, like, what is camel case, all these things, what is overriding, overloading. All these concepts are very clearly mentioned in that book. So I find it useful. Probably you might also find it useful, so you can go through it. All right. So where was I? I was trying to implement a put mapping. Put mapping, and we are updating a resource based on its ID. And first we will try to find. Okay. Now what will happen is from the client, ID will be passed on separately along with the object. So basically, what client wants me to do, the client wants me to do is he wants me to update this object created with this ID, find that object and update its value with these values. Whatever is mentioned here inside this object, these should get updated here as well. So that's the intention here. So I am trying to find an existing resource which is there in the database already by this ID. So I'm passing on this ID here, find by ID in the database and find a resource. And optional is nothing but whether we are able to find it in the database or not. I will get this object, and if it is present in the database, so this line will become true. Dot is present. This line will become true, and I will go inside it. And with the get API, I will find the actual resource. And if it is not present, that means it was null. It was not found in the database. So this notation has to be followed. All right. Existing resource, optional resource dot get. So we have found the existing resource. Now what we are doing is we will update the existing resource with the new resource. Let me call it new resource. Refactor rename. Yeah. So I will do nothing but this existing resource dot set address. This one is same thing I will do with age and name as well. Okay, I forgot to add getter and status for name. So now I'm adding them now. Yeah, they are here now. All right, error is gone. Get address, get name, set address, set name, new resource. Okay, let's do the same thing for age as well. I hope all of you are with me up till here. Yeah, I think this is also implemented. All right. Hmm. Yeah. Any questions so far? I can take some questions if you want, but quickly enough. Let me go through the chat window if there are some questions. All right. Yeah. So basically, we have created a basic structure or a basic coding we have done in the first service. I just need to set up some properties now in order to get it running. So I'll go in application.properties. This application.properties is provided by default in the Spring Boot framework, and Spring Boot will refer to application.properties file by implicitly every time. But if you want to tell Spring Boot to refer to some different file, that can also be done. But for the purpose of this example, I will not cover that. You can have a look at Spring Profile Active, and you can read about it, how to use that. And by that, you can get to know how to refer to different properties file as well, based on environments. All right. So let's move on. Let us give um, a context path, a context path to all the APIs which we have created. Context path is nothing but a path which will be prepended to all the APIs within this service. It will be a path which will be prepended, which will be appended before all the APIs in this service. That's it. So let me call it service one source. Okay. Port. So this I'm mentioning the port number where this service will be called, on which port it will be called. All right. Now I need to mention some database things, database related properties. Let me mention it here. I have copied it from my previous project simply. So otherwise it is very hard for me to remember these as well. So yeah. So on this URL, this database is located, and this is the driver, H2 driver. This is the username password that I'm using. This is the database platform, the dialect. For Oracle, it will be Oracle dialect. For SQL Server, it will be another dialect, like that. Console, I am enabling console so that we can view it on the browser, and the console path. So on this path, on this, but let me change this one to service one console. Okay, on this particular path, we will be able to access the database. Okay, service one console, H2 console settings trace false, web allow others false. This is false. DDL auto update. It has various other values as well. We can mention here update, create drop, null, like that. So for the purpose of this example, I'll be using update here. By update, I mean that whatever difference the JPA finds with my domain, which I have created here, the resource class is my domain here. So whatever difference uh, JPA finds between resource Java class and resource table, that will be resolved on the fly by the JPA itself. I don't need to worry about that. So I'll check. We will check this here. All right. Okay. What else? What else? Yeah. To test this, let's also add Swagger. So up till now, we have created APIs, we have integrated with the database, but how will we test it? Yeah, there was some network lag actually. Yeah. So we need to add a dependency. So I was saying to test this, we will integrate this application with Swagger. Swagger is another tool which is used to documenting the REST APIs and to test them as well. So let's add dependency of Swagger and then let's integrate with it. Okay, for Swagger it is new dot spring fox. Spring fox. Spring fox. Yeah, it is updated now. So first, for implementing Swagger, we need to add these two dependencies. To for H2 database, include these two dependencies. For Swagger, include these two dependencies. All right. I think we are all set to test it now. Yeah, there is a question. Can we use Linux in microservices? Yes, you can use Linux. Linux is nothing but an operating system, a kind of operating system like Windows. So on Linux, probably you will have to download JDK for Linux instead of JDK for Windows. You'll install JDK for Linux. Then you might install Ubuntu, and then you will get Eclipse or any other IDE which you prefer on that OS, and rest of the things will remain same only. Yeah. All right. Let's move ahead. Spring Boot service one, and now we have okay. We have included the dependency for Swagger, but we have not given the configuration. So let me add that configuration as well. So I have copied it from my other project simply because it's a copy paste thing. No, not here. This one was... BCIIT service one dot config Firefox config. Right, I've created one class. What I am going to do is to integrate Swagger, we just need to include this much code. This is the configuration code which initializes the Swagger in this project. Then Swagger will start searching or start looking for all the APIs which have been exposed in this project, and it will deliver that on the UI. So let's try that if it is possible now for us. Let's see if we have done everything correctly. Okay. Let me run. Okay, this is the main application from where it starts. This project starts. So I have simply opened this and I will run it as a Java application. I hope the context should get up. Should be up and running soon. Let's see. This is the console area. Oh, it has taken a lot of time actually. We are already at 12:50 and just completed first service. Let's see if we require another follow-up session for this, we can have that as well. Probably next weekend. I'll be happy to take that. But yeah, let's try to cover as much as we can today.
Yes. So in the meantime, you can just recap the steps that we had to follow to complete this web service. So just summarize the steps for all the users, because people are requesting for those. Yes.
Sure, ma'am. First, let me test it and let me make everything successful running, and then I will recap everything, whatever I have done so far.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Okay. So our service is up without any error. Started. You can see the last line started Spring Boot service application in 24 seconds. Something. So no errors. Congratulations to all of us so far. All right. Now, now let me share my Chrome browser, because there is some technical issue. I am not able to share all the screens at one go. But never mind. Yeah, I'm back on the browser. I hope all of you can see. Yeah, I can see it on mobile. Yeah, if you remember, I had given my port for this application as 7010. So 7010 becomes my my port number. Then my context path is same, service one, and then slash, then resource, and then I have to call this swagger UI.html in order to start the swagger for me. So let's try this one. Wow, it has come up. Okay. Okay, so the resource controller is our class in which we are interested in. Let's open resource controller. You can see beautifully it has given us 3 APIs which we implemented. See, you can see get, post, put, these 3 APIs we implemented, and it has automatically given this to us. All right. And we are not interested in this models right now. Anyways, if we open address, yeah, you can see this thing. Address age, ID, name we had given in the resource, so it has picked that as well. All right. Yeah, this is not required. All right. We are interested in this. So let's first create something if we are able to do it or not. Let's see. So let me do. Let me give some address. So what I have done here is I just press the try out button, and um, it has enabled one sample request body for me. So now I'm putting data in my sample request body. So in post, we have to send a request body like this in a JSON format. This is called a JSON format. So I'm not going to cover JSON. It is very simple. You can go through it, or I assume most of you already know about it. Basically, it is a key value pair in double quotes. So the strings are given in double quotes, and the integers are given as it is. So age I can give, let's say 28. ID I don't need to give. Probably let's try it without an ID. Name. Name. Okay. Let's see. I'm getting 400 bad requests. You can see, but the error is unexpected character. Was expecting comma to separate object entries. So basically, the error is this: we have not given a comma after age. This thing here. That was the error. Okay, it was expecting a comma in here in the request body. That's it. Let's try again. Oh wow. See, our first object is created inside the database. Now let's go into the database to check, to verify whether it was created there or not. Okay, for that I need to do this. 7010 service one resource. This is my context path. This part is known as context path, which I had set in application.properties. The part which I have highlighted now on the URL, that is the context path of my application. So every URL of my application will start with service1/resource always. And the console path which I have given is service1 console. Yeah. So this thing is also up now. As you can see, the resource. But I don't know you have noticed or not. I have not created any table so far. I did not create any table in front of you, and I did not create even before the session as well. So what JPA did, it created the table as well for us based on the domain object provided by me, based on the resource class which I provided in the Java code. Based on that, it has created a table as well. This is called kind of reverse engineering. Okay, so let's do a select star from source. See, one record is there in my database. So far, so good. All right, let's try the get now, because one record is created. Let's send one ID1, execute it, and get it. Response is 200. As you can see, 200 is okay response, success response. And this is the output. Let's me try with 2. Let's see. Yeah, no response for me. Although it is okay because there was no error. There was no error in my code. That's why the response should be okay. But since it was not able to find anything, so it will have to go blank response basically. So now let me try the put as well. So in the put, we'll do nothing, but again, we'll press the try it out button here. And oh, path ID, okay. Okay. They have changed the UI presentation of put. Okay, earlier it used to be a little different. Okay, never mind. We'll pass on the address. Let's move the person from Kalkaji to somewhere else, GTB Nagar. And we don't want to change the age, ID, nothing. ID, we need to pass 1 here because we want to tell which object to update. So we are telling our backend that we need to update the object with ID 1 and update its address only, nothing else. That's it. Let us try that. Yeah, as you can see here in the response, ID remains the same, age remains the same. Only address has been updated. Name also is same as there was previously. So only address has updated. So if I try the get again, one execute. See, I'm getting GTB Nagar now with Jatin 28 1. Yeah, yeah. Okay, fine. Up till here, so far so good. So this swagger is also something which has arrived in in the industry not very long ago, only few years back. You can say 3 4 years back, and still many companies are not using it. But it's a good thing to use if you are just working on the back end. So one more benefit of using Swagger is that suppose you have implemented so many APIs in your project. Now you want to share these APIs with your UI developer or your QA team. So how will you do that? Either you will have to write all these things to make them understand. You have to create all this stuff yourself. This request body, this parameters, these URLs, and all everything you have to construct yourself and then document it somewhere, and then you have to share that document with them. Or you can just implement Swagger in your project and share the Swagger URL with them, and they can access all your APIs on your Swagger URL. So that's about Swagger. Yeah. So although the intention was to create two services, probably I can have another follow-up session for that because it will take at least 1 more hour to create another service, and then uh, we'll we'll check the communication between both these services. But I think Sushma ma'am, what do you suggest? Can we stop here by taking the queries?
Now, and you can, if quickly brush up the steps which
Yeah,
were
yeah.
discussed to create this particular API. So, and after that, we'll be winding up and we'll be taking queries from these candidates, the participants also.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Guys, I will be now I will be going through the steps again, whatever I have implemented so far, and you can look at the screen, try to find any queries if you have, and please ask them. And at the end of this session, I will also be uploading this code on a Git repository so that you can download it, and maybe this link will be shared on both Microsoft Teams and YouTube description of this video. Yeah, that can be done. All right. Let me start from the beginning. So I am on my browser. I started with the presentation. I'm not going to the presentation right now. Okay, we just covered introduction and the advantages and the comparison between monolithic and the microservice architecture. Then we moved on and created one service. So for creating a service, first I went to start.spring.io, this website, which is the Spring official website only. And on this website, I simply selected some options. So I wanted to create a Maven project out of Java language in the version 2.2.11, and I gave it some name based on our session today, com.bciit Spring Boot Service 1, and it was a jar. We wanted to create a jar, not a war. War is something else. It will be a web app where the UI content is also available. Let's not go there. Okay. So it will be a jar based on Java 8 version. So I press the generate button to generate the skeleton project. Okay, now let me share my Eclipse again, then show you the you have set as the console of your database. So I set myself this service one hyphen console. So if you'll do it, you will able to access your database as well on the browser. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Yeah, yeah. I think I'm done. If you have any question, please let me know.
Thank you, sir. We have one query with us. Hello.
Yes. Please tell me. Nidhi ma'am, you are on mute in case you are speaking.
I request all the participants to please post their queries right now, because it's the time that you can ask our expert your all your doubts and queries. So all participants are requested to either raise their hand or ask their queries in the chat box. One information I have for all the audience that Dr. Anu Taneja has shared the link for feedback form, because your details will be printed on the. So kindly fill the form very precisely. Okay, keep all your spellings and names, every detail. Be very careful while filling up the form. So the link is available in the chat box. You can just fill up the form. And in the meantime, we request all the participants to come up with their queries. You can come up with your queries right now.
And for your information, we have the link available for the feedback form, and e-certificates will be available for all the candidates who will be filling up the form. So please correctly fill up your form, and so that we can issue your e-certificates as.
Hello, Jatin. Hello.
Hello.
Jatin, this is Ravish.
Oh, hi sir. How are you? Long time.
But fine, Jatin. Jatin, thanks a lot for sparing time for our student.
No problem, sir. It is good to attach to my college again. I am happy that I could contribute in some way, and will be happy to contribute again if some opportunity arises.
You very well started. You started with the very basic introduction, then taken one application in a short time. Seriously, it was a very informative session. And we will try to conduct a few more sessions of here.
Thank you so much, sir. No problem. I'm happy
Thank
to
you,
help.
Jatin. Yeah.
So we have one query coming up for us. The participant is asking, can you share some resources from where we can learn Spring Boot and microservices more? Which all resources we can use to learn it in deeper details?
So basically, I'll share which I have found useful. So I can share those with you when I will be sharing the Git repository link. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was indeed a very informative session. With all our audience, we want to share some information. One more question is coming up before we wind up. Which type of projects we can implement using services, microservices? Shraddha Walkar is asking this. Which type of projects we can implement using microservices?
So actually, your question is not very clear to me. By which type of projects? What do you mean by that? Which type of projects
I
actually?
think she is
Can you
asking
please
maybe for
elaborate?
Maven or something like that. Maybe she's asking for the type of projects like Maven projects or something that we initially started up. I think so. The applications, she
Okay,
has specified
which
the
type of
applications.
applications? So
Right.
basically, when we are implementing API based these microservices, basically these can be used anywhere. You just imagine there is a Android app, there is a iOS app, and there is a web application which can be accessed over desktop or laptop. Okay, so for let's say for Amazon, you can access it over Android, you can access it over Apple iPhone, or you can access it over laptop or desktop. Fine. So laptop or desktop call is known as web application. So these are three clients for me: Android, iOS, and web. So all three will call this particular API only. For them, the API remains same. So for the backend, nothing changes. So I am not interested who is calling me, what they will do. I am just exposing some of my APIs: get, post, put. In this case, if, for this example, like I have exposed get, post, and put. And I'm concerned about is you call my API and get the data that you want, or post the data that you want. That's it. I'm not bothered about whether you are calling from Android, you are calling from iOS, or calling from web. All three can be supported. I hope I have answered your question.
Sure, sir. Sure. Thank you so much, sir. It was indeed a great session. With all our audience, we want to share some information. We thank all our audience for being so patient audience, and I think everybody has enjoyed this session well. You can see on your screen, this is our placement cell achievement, our top achievers of the batch 2018-21. Even in this situation of pandemic, our students have been able to grab nice opportunities in reputed companies. Here is a list of names of all our achievers: Nitin Kumar Mishra, Mohit Saxena, Shivani Sarthi, Sakshi Mittal, Kiranjit Kaur, Sonam Kapri, Aisha, Shubham Saxena, Anam Sharma, Piyush Arora, Himani Sharma. We also have with us some of our students. Among these list of students, we have some of our students who will be sharing their best experience with BCIIT. So I request Shubham Saxena to share his experience with college. I hope Shubham, I'm audible with us.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Shubham, please share your experience. What helped you out, and how did you prepare for your placements?
So I am Shubham Saxena. I am a final year student of MCA of BCIIT. So basically, I joined this college in 2018 via CET exam. After getting admission, my main motto was only to work hard and to be placed in a reputed company. All the professors here in our college are very talented and knowledgeable, and they always support us for any problem we face. The atmosphere here is also very inviting too. So basically, during my second year, our college organized a workshop on React JS, which was of 2 months. That time, I generated my interest in React, and months so I got devoted to it and also started learning from sources like Udemy and YouTube. All the faculties are very helpful. They're always in the front in time of help. So thanks to all my teachers. When I got to know about the company which was coming for the front end engineering post, I gave all my time for it to crack. Teachers also helped me whenever I asked them my doubts. By concurrent working of placement cell and my hardworking, luckily I got selected to the new at Noida. I am very thankful to all my teachers and faculty members.
Thank you so much, Shubham. Thank you. Himani, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. She's also one of our brilliant students who has been able to grab opportunity in the companies. So I just want to thank all the audience, all the people who have been attending this. Himani, you want to say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good afternoon to all. I'm very thankful to all the teachers for always motivating and supporting me throughout this journey. The online classes during the lockdown really helped me a lot, and teachers were always there to clear the doubts. BCIIT provides a very good environment for learning and make your base strong. There is no communication gap between the teachers and the students. So, thank you so much, BCIIT, to help me to grab this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Himani. So, all the participants, I repeat again that we have shared the feedback link in our chat box. You can visit the feedback link and fill all your details very carefully so that your e-certificates will be generated as soon as possible. It has been a very, indeed a very informative session for all of us. We had so much to learn, but so less time. But Jatin sir has managed to explain it so well to all of us. I hope it has been a very enjoyable session for all of you and informative at the same time. Thank you, Jatin sir, for being here for all of us and giving us such a nice explanation of Java microservices. It has been a great experience with you, and we hope to cooperate and coordinate more sessions with you for the benefit of all our audience. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, all the audience. With this, I think it's the time for us to wind up this session and see you in the upcoming sessions. We will be keeping organizing further sessions in further coming weeks. So keep yourself updated with our Facebook page. We are available on Facebook. We are available on all the social media platforms. You can just visit our website also. You can see this on the screen, bciit.ac.in. You can visit our website. You can log into our website and see further updates of admissions regarding MCA course in through NIMSET and GGSIPU, Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University. So you can be updated regarding all the MCA admission process, and you can be updated about the seminars and workshops. Please be connected with us on the Facebook page of BCIIT as well. Thank you so much for all of you to join this session. Thank you, Jatin sir. Thank you all the guests, all the participants. Thank you, Ravish sir, for helping us to organize this session. It has been a motivation of yours that helped us to organize this session. Thank you so much, everybody, for being there.
Thank
Thank you, sir.
you, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you.